Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very exciting episode. Today we'll be starting with Genesis 1 and 2. If you haven't read it yet, please go back and read it so that way you can understand a little bit more of what we're talking about. But to get started, I want my boy Dan over here to give us a quick overview of what Genesis 1 and 2 talks about.
Yep. So Genesis 1 and 2, I mean, it's your creation story.
Yes.
It recounts everything and it starts at the beginning. And the reason we start at the beginning is like any good book. To truly understand the rest of the book, you need to start at the beginning. There's a scripture that says that he declared the end from the beginning. So to know what happens at the end, you must understand what he did in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I hope this is fruitful and I hope people take a few things out of this story.
Amen, man. I hope I take something out of this story. I mean, the whole drive this morning, I was just putting Genesis 1 into on repeat just to get, even though I read it multiple times before, but just wanted to get, a sense of like what we are doing today and what kind of questions should I ask to help the viewers. So the first and foremost, the first question I'll ask is, so God created the heaven and the earth, right? And he says, let there be light. From reading the Bible before, I know that God is light, right? So he is beaming light. If he appears right here, you'll probably be blind because he's so bright. So why did he not use his own light to power the earth instead of creating a whole different set of lights, which is, he called it for day and for night, to light the day and night? I can't even ask the questions, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Fortunately, I don't have an answer. The scriptures aren't very clear on that. So anything I say will just be a opinion, of course. And the real answer is because he said so. That's the way he thought.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And when we go through the creation story, you'll see that everything he makes is perfect. Everything he makes is with intelligent design. You bring up the interesting fact about him being light. And what you'll see in Revelation, I know we're not talking about that right now, but when you see the new heaven and new earth, there is no more sun or moon because he is the light. So he will be the light that shines in the new heaven and new earth. I don't know why he didn't decide to do that from the beginning, but that's his decision and that's his power. So
he makes it happen. So who is God? Like, when you read the Bible, he talks about how there was no beginning, right? There is no other God.
Yes.
There's no beginning. He was since the beginning, which, what does that even mean?
That is something that is hard to comprehend. He's always existed. He's not created. He's just always existed.
Which is, I cannot wrap my mind around that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is hard to comprehend because he existed before time.
Yeah.
He exists outside of time. Time is a kind of a man-made concept. It's something that we've created to kind of keep track of things, but he's always been present. So we don't know how far along it took before he decided to create the heaven and earth and all that, but he's just always been there. He's all-powerful, all-knowing, and almighty. That's who he is.
One quick question, maybe it's not a question, but you said that time was man-made. I think he created the sun to be able to tell time, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah. So when he created heaven and earth, he created the firmament.
Yeah.
And the firmament, he placed the sun, the moon, and the stars in the firmament. And they're in the sky to give us track of time. It allows us to track time. He says it's there for signs and for tracking of time. So the sun tracks what time of the day it is. You use a sundial, you know what hour it is. The moon tells you what day of the month it is.
Yeah.
Has its 28-day cycle. There's really 13 cycles in a year. And so it used to really be 13 months and 28 days cycle. And the stars, based on the constellation, tells you what time of the year it is, what season you're in. So the constellations will appear in a certain pattern and oh, it's the spring. Oh, it's the summer, vice versa. So
what is the firmament? What is that?
So the firmament is described in many chapters, even after Genesis, and it's highly debated because in some translations you'll see firmament, it says firmament means heaven, and so they just say it's the sky. But in other verses, like you'll look in Psalms or look in Job, it describes the firmament as a solid dome structure. And it appears like molten glass.
Okay.
So it appears as a dome, but we know from at least Genesis that the sun, moon, and stars are in the firmament.
So inside, not like over it, but inside.
Inside the firmament, yes. And when we read the story, the firmament was used to divide the waters.
Okay.
So he created earth, and earth was created within water. So there was water, and to separate the waters, he used the firmament. So there's water below the earth, and there's water above the earth based on the firmament. Yep.
And not correct. Don't quote me on this, but I think there's probably more water above the firmament than under the firmament, right? So they have more water than Earth, or am I being totally wrong here?
I would say there's more water that exists, because it seems like obviously there's not an exact verse that you can point to and say, yep, there's exactly water, this percentage of water versus above and below. But it appears that the earth is within waters. So there's always water surrounding, and there's some interesting like picture models based on the recounting of Genesis that give a interesting picture, making this look like a dome and water surrounding. But
interesting. So, since he created the dome to separate the two, so do you think that God is not inside of the dome with us? Or is he like just, I mean, I know he's out of time and everything, but so where does the Bible talks about where heaven is located, or is it just had no location?
So there's scripture, not in Genesis, but I believe this is in either Isaiah or Job, where it says that his throne is above the earth and the earth is his footstool. So heaven would be the location where the Most High is above the earth. And it says that he actually looks down upon us in a way. So he would be above us. And he would be above the firmament. He would be above the waters. When you read the story recounting of Revelation, where you have John, it's said where John is looking at this vision of heaven, he sees a throne and sees seas of glass. And it's a very interesting depiction of it. But from my take of it all, I would say he's above.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. So moving forward, right? He then started to create from day one, right? He created the heaven and the earth and so on. And then it goes down to he's created men and women, right?
Yeah.
So from creating men, he says it wasn't good for men to be alone. So therefore he had to put Adam in a deep sleep and then take his bone, right? And then created the woman. So why don't you think that he would just created the woman from scratch instead of putting Adam into sleep, taking the bone to create the woman?
Once again, speculation. Once again, this is not clear, but I think, he's the Most High. He has the wisdom for us all. Yeah. And I think it was a little bit of foretelling of how he wanted man and woman to interact. He wanted them to be one. So you would see that in Genesis 2, he takes the rib and forms Eve out of that. And that's what, and then it also says later on, and for this reason, a man would leave his parents and join with the woman, and they would become one. And so they'll complete each other in a way.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say that man and woman are designed to complete each other. And that is why he didn't make them completely two separate people, at least for Adam and Eve.
Yeah, which makes sense. So now that leads me to my next point, right? Because it says created men and women, and so that way they can, be together. So, and also the Bible talks about he created he, and I will have to pull my phone because I highlighted it this morning. And then also a little bit down it says he created he, them, right? For someone who's reading it, actually, I got to pull it up. I got to pull it up. It talks about, now I'm on Genesis 3.
You're in Genesis 3. Okay.
No, I moved to, because I was listening to it this morning. He says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created he, him, male and female, created he, them. Right.
What verse are you in?
Verse 27, Genesis 1, verse 27, right? So for someone who's reading it for the first time, they would say, well, not for someone who's reading it for the first time. Let me just go out and say it. Homosexual, right? They would say, well, God created he, them. That means he created them, right? And they use the pronouns as them for them. So is that what God did?
No.
Okay. I just want to clarify for the audience.
Yes. So, I mean, he created male and female. That's very clear distinction. And when he's using them, he's pluralizing, talking about all future, like, humans.
Okay.
All humans. He's saying them to include both male and female in them. The pronoun stuff that we deal with today with identification is...
The mic.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. The pronouns that we see today is a bit of a newer concept that was not done in the past time. As far as we know, it probably was because there's nothing new under the sun. So there was probably something like that going on back then. But in this particular text, he's talking about humans in general.
Okay.
Because when you read through the Genesis account, when he talks about plants, he's talking about all plants and they come from seeds. He talks about the animals, whether they come from the sea or whether they come from land, and he's pluralizing them. And now he's talking about humans and he's pluralizing all of the humans in general. So we all come from dust.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we die, we go back to dust. All right, the next question would be, so what is created in God's image mean? Let me re-ask that question. So God says, so we created men in our own image. What does creating in God's image mean?
Yeah. Now, this is a topic that a lot of people talk about, hard to comprehend, but let's start with Adam. So Adam would be considered a son of God. And son of God means the direct offshoot of the Most High, directly created by the Most High. So angels would be considered sons of God.
Okay.
So Adam was he's the closest human outside of when Messiah comes down. He's the closest human to the Most High. When the Most High created him in his image, created him in his likeness, his mind, body, spirit, he thought like the Most High. He acted like the Most High. He was given wisdom like the Most High. This is why the Most High allowed him to name all the animals, allow him to tend the garden, to do what he wanted. He gave them free will and allowed them to think and act like he does. And you'll see in our image, you're seeing the Most High, Elohim the Father, Yahuwah. You have the Son, Yahusha, and then you also have the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, or the Ruach, which is the set-apart spirit, would be like the Hebrew translation of that.
Okay.
And it seems that they're all playing a role in creating man, creating humans. And that's what I would say our image means.
Interesting. That is very interesting. All right. So if we are created in his image, does that mean that nowadays we should think the way he thinks and do the way he does things? Right?
Yeah. Since we're created in his image, we should value everyone in that way. In the same way you're supposed to value and revere the Most High, you're supposed to value and revere his creation. And we are his greatest creation. When he creates animals, he doesn't say, let's make animals in our image. He makes humans. That's who he loves. That's who he loves the most, I should say. Because he loves all animals. He loves his creation. But he loves humans the most and values humans the most. And we are supposed to love him and act like him. We are supposed to absolutely think like him. He gives us the opportunity, the wisdom, and all of that to be like him, draw close to him. And the more time you spend reading your word, dwelling with the Most High, the closer your thoughts begin to align with the Most High.
Yeah.
And when we eventually start reading about the commandments, you'll see a lot of these commandments are trying to tailor your life and actions to be set apart like the Most High, like he wants you to be.
That is well put. So why do you think that God created the heavens and the earth and then put the devil on the same planet that we are living in? Like, he want us to be with him forever, right?
Yeah.
He want to give us free will. Yes, I get that. But why? It's like saying like, someone who's trying to work out, being healthy, you put a nice big Burger King, juicy Burger King right in front of them and say, don't eat that.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So like, why would he put the devil on the same planet that we are in when he is God? He can create literally whatever he wants and throw the devil right there. I mean, we probably don't have the answer to that, but I just want to ask that question.
Yep. Once again, speculation about things, but he's given us free will. So angels also have free will. When the devil rebelled, a third of them followed him along. They had the option. They had the option to either serve the Most High, be obedient to the Most High, or listen to the devil.
Yeah.
And they chose to opt with the devil and lost their place in heaven. 2/3 saw that and was just like, absolutely not. Staying with the Most High. And they have free will. When you look at humans, he could have very easily created robots. He could have very easily created us without the free will or even the option to even think about like disobeying him.
Yeah.
But that's not what he wanted. He wanted us to choose him on our own free will and accord. He wanted us to love and worship him on our own free will. That's what he wants. And when you look throughout the whole story, he always sets before you options. He always sets the option of obedience versus disobedience. And then he tells you the outcomes and consequences of either. And then he allows you to choose which one. So Adam is placed in the garden, given the complete free will, and given one commandment. Don't eat from the tree. Don't eat from the tree, from one tree. You can have everything else you want. Don't eat from that tree. I don't know why that was even placed there. That is once again
that
speculation.
was actually my next question. Yeah.
But when the Most High makes covenants with people, there's always stipulation. It's always based on obedience.
Okay.
There's always the option to obey or disobey. So in this, you can consider this a covenant with Adam. You get to live in this garden. The garden took care of itself practically. It watered itself. Water came up from the ground to water the plants.
Which is crazy.
He had food for whatever. He didn't really have to do anything. And his only requirement, and he got to dwell with the Most High. The Most High walked with him, talked with him the same way we're talking right now.
Yeah.
Just talk with them. And all he had to do was not eat from that tree. That was the covenant right there. You fast forward when Moses, with Abraham, you're going to be a father of many nations. I'm going to bless you. And through your seed, you're going to bless all the nations. The commandment. He has to leave his father and the land that he was in of paganism to go to a land he never knew. If he chose no, we wouldn't be talking about Abraham today. But he chose that. You go to the Israelites. They're handed out the law and the covenant. You obey me, I'm going to bless you, establish you forever. No one's going to be able to touch you. All of these great things. And if you disobey me, these are all the things that are going to happen to you. We know which option they chose, and they dealt with the consequences and still dealing with the consequences today. But throughout the whole Bible, you'll see the same thing. It's always based on obedience to the Most High or choosing not to obey. And you see the consequences play out. So,
yeah. That makes sense. So what did God mean by be fruitful and multiply? So he created us, right? And then after he created us, he says, be fruitful and multiply. And he also says that to the fish in the sea, right? What does that mean?
It means reproduce. It means reproduce, grow, and inhabit the earth. The Genesis 1 story, everything the Most High creates is perfect. So he speaks, and we didn't talk about this yet, but he speaks and it just happens because he said so. That's how powerful his word is.
Yeah.
He says something and it has to happen. There's no choice. There's no say in the matter. It has to happen. And when it happens, you'll say, it was good. It was great. It was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The earth was perfect, and we were designed to inhabit this earth.
Mm-hmm.
He gave humans dominion over the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Be fruitful and multiply, expand, take the land, enjoy the land, and really appreciate it. So Adam and Eve made lots of children. We know about the three main ones we talk about are Abel and Cain, because that's the first murder, and then Seth.
Mm-hmm.
But they had many children that weren't named
Mm-hmm.
as well. And so we were supposed to multiply, expand, and take the land and take care of the earth. Also, we're supposed to take care of the earth as well. And you'll see this commandment to be fruitful and multiply said again with Noah. After the flood,
Mm-hmm.
the Most High makes a covenant. Once again, he's Elohim, he's a God of covenants. Makes another covenant
Mm-hmm.
with Noah and his descendants. And then he tells them, be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
Expand, multiply, and inhabit the land. So that's pretty much what it means.
So you said like fruitful and multiply means like to have pretty much more kids, and so that way you can fill the earth, right?
Yep.
So what about the people that can't have kids, right? I mean, that's a tough subject that
Yeah.
we probably don't have the answers to, but I just wanted to ask that question because there's a lot of people out there that's like, well, God says to be fruitful and multiply, but my womb is not working, or my sperm is not working, or whatever it may be, right? So what do you think?
That's tough.
Yeah.
It's hard, but some people may not be called to have children. Unfortunately, some people are born with medical conditions or things that prevent them, or injuries or trauma. You name it, that prevents them from properly having kids. And that's not to say they're less than. In ancient times, having children was like the thing to do. That was like a sign, a status. And so you'll see stories about women who were unable to bear children and the difficulties and frustrations. They felt angry and frustrated. So Samuel's mom, she couldn't have children, and she would go to the temple every day praying for that. And she made a covenant with the Most High that if she did have a child, that his whole life would be dedicated to the Most High. And the Most High heard her prayers. And Samuel came out and became a great prophet. You'll see in the story of Abraham and Sarah, she couldn't have children for the longest time. And the Most High made this promise to Abraham that, oh, your descendants are going to be like the sand of the sea. And they're sitting there looking at, well, we don't even have one child yet.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? And unfortunately, this goes into that disobedience part or not trusting the Most High part, because then Sarah takes her maidservant, handservant, and has a child with the handservant that became Ishmael, and that led to a whole lot of other problems that we'll talk about later.
Yes.
But it depends. It honestly depends. If you can't have children and you feel like you're called to take care of children, you can always adopt.
Yeah, that's true.
You can always adopt. You can pray about it. You can work and see what the Most High has in store for you, because the Most High's plans for everyone can be different. Your calling and your purpose in life can be different. Some people, they believe their purpose is only just having children. And if that is truly your purpose, then do your purpose. But some people are called to do many things. And what you're called to do, that's what truly matters. And do that to the best of your abilities. To have fulfillment in this life, the only way to truly be fulfilled in this life is to be obedient to the Most High.
Yeah.
And to do the purpose that he set for you.
But how do you get that purpose though? Because like a lot of people are in search of purpose nowadays, right?
Yeah.
I'm in search of purpose, right? Even though I'm working this beautiful place that God has allowed my brother to have, and I have, obviously a beautiful family, but purpose can mean a lot of things to different people. Purpose can mean like, well, if I found this job or I become this entrepreneur and I make this amount of money, that's my purpose. So what is, I know it's not in one and two, but what is purpose for someone who's looking forward to purpose or that's in search for purpose?
So purpose, why were you created? You were created, first of all, first and foremost, everyone was created so that they can serve the Most High, love the Most High. You're given a choice, but ultimately, ideally, you're supposed to love the Most High. To find your purpose, which I think is kind of part of the question you're asking, you got to know who you are. So the first question you should ask is, who are you? When someone walks up to you and someone asks, who are you? What do you say? What are the words that come out of your mouth when you describe yourself?
I said my name. I said my name. That's me though.
That's your name. But then if they ask, who are you? Because I could say that that's a cat. But what if a person's never seen a cat before? How would you describe that cat? So how would I describe you? How would you describe yourself? How would you like people to know you in a quick elevator pitch? If you don't know that, first you should have a very long form and write down who you are. There's some good practices where they tell you to write your eulogy. So write what you would like people to say at your funeral. And the things and qualities that you would like, emulate those. Do those things. But find out who you are. The most important place to start is first find out what the Most High says about you. And you'll find that in the Word. So there's no getting out of studying the Word. After understanding the Most High and praying about that, start finding out the qualities that you have.
Okay.
Who are you? How do people feel when they interact with you? What are you good at? What are you bad at? Like, figure out all of those things and come up with who you are. Once you figure out who you are, it becomes much easier, or a bit, I should say easier, to find out what your purpose is. What are you called to do? When you're doing your purpose, there's usually a sense of peace. There's usually a sense of peace and fulfillment with those tasks. Some people, the first thing they list off is their job when they describe themselves. And the truth of the matter is, you're not your job. Your job is one of your skill sets. You have skill sets that allow you to do your job, but you are not your job. Because if your job is taken away, you still exist.
Right.
You still exist to a degree. And who you are after that, that's what matters. If I take everything away from you, what do you have left? That's who you are.
Yeah.
That's really who you are.
I mean, that's still tough though to comprehend, you know?
Yeah. And it takes people many years to figure that out. Some people, they figure it out right away. They know exactly what their purpose and calling is, and that's great. The important thing for other people, though, is to not compare themselves, because everyone has their own individual journey and all individual walk. There's obvious commandments and things that we all have to obey. There's things that we should do and things that we shouldn't do. You know, love the Most High with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's non-negotiable. Love your neighbor as yourself. Non-negotiable. And you go through these commandments. Non-negotiable. But there's certain things and callings that we're called to do. And a problem and something that becomes a thief of joy, you know, they say comparison's the thief of joy. A lot of people feel that they're not in the place that they should be or want to be at. And oftentimes they feel that way because they're comparing themselves to someone else. They're comparing their walk to someone else's walk. Well, so-and-so is doing this, this, and that, and they're half my age, or they're the same age as me, and look at all the things they have, and look what I have to show for it.
Right.
That's the incorrect way to look at your life. The way to look at your life is, have I figured out who I am yet? Am I walking in the way the Most High wants me to walk in? Am I doing the things that the Most High wants me to do? My skills. What am I using my skills for? Is the job that I'm working at, is it just for money? Or do I feel like I'm fulfilling, do I have fulfillment when I do it and complete these tasks? Do I feel like I'm helping people? There are calls to help people.
Yeah.
Are you doing that to your best of your ability? A good way to find or figure that out is, some people feel depressed, anxious when they're not doing their purpose. And oftentimes it's because deep down, they know that they are wasting their time. They feel like their time is going to waste. If you're fulfilling your purpose, your time is never going to waste.
Not waste, yeah.
It's not being wasted. So if you have that feeling of, I feel like I've meant to do more, I feel like I'm meant to do something else, you probably are. And you should explore that. You should pray about it. You should explore that. You should have good mentors. This is where having a great mentor, you should have numerous or multiple mentors to help guide you and get advice and wise counsel about those things.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so the next, not we're jumping around today, but which is totally fine. All right, so the next question would be Genesis 1, verse 26 talks about, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it. Yep. And the key thing that I will take away, that's the question that I'm asking is, he says, have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living things that moveth upon the earth. Right? Us as people, we move around over this earth. Yeah. So does it mean to have dominion over people? Right? So, because obviously we were, well, not we, but back then a lot of people were enslaved, right?
Yeah.
Not just black people, there's also Asian people that was, there's also Korean, there's like all different kind of people that was enslaved. So why did those people read this verse and say, what? God says have dominion over every living thing on this earth. So what would you say to that?
Yeah. So first, when it says to have dominion over all of these things, you got to remember, what was Adam's first purpose?
His first purpose was to name all the animals.
Yeah. What else? And
his other also first purpose was to love, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say.
So he was given the task of naming all the animals, and he was given the task of being a caretaker of the earth, of the garden, I should say. More specifically of the garden, because it's placed in the garden.
Yeah.
So when it says to have dominion, it means that he was supposed to be in charge of the whole earth. Humans are the highest life forms on the earth. Remember, they're the ones who are blessed with being made in the Most High's image.
Yeah.
The Most High wanted us to take care of the earth.
Okay.
This is also why you fast forward to Matthew, where it says the meek shall inherit the earth. And because ultimately we were supposed to take care of the earth. We're supposed to rule over the earth, and we don't have animals above us. We are above all animals.
Right.
When you talk about, and you fast forward to slavery and all that, many of these nations and tribes formed and had slavery, and the slavery that they had is a bit different from the slave trade that everyone thinks of, where the transatlantic slave trade. It's a little different. It was more of an indentured servitude. So they were like hired hands.
What does that even mean?
Yes. So they were a bit hired hands. All right, I should say, depending on which nation you were in, because some nations were just brutal and all the bad stuff that you think of, that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
But in terms of stuff that the Israelites would do, is they were hired hands. So they were in slavery, or they served someone for X amount of years.
Okay.
So, and after a certain amount of period, they were allowed to leave. So there's things called like the Jubilee. And that was like a special year where all your debt was forgiven. You were good to go. If you chose to leave your master, you were free to go.
At any time?
Yeah. So, well, at the time of the Jubilee. So either at the time of your completion of your service, whatever that was, 7 years or however many years, you had the option to leave. And
who gave them that time though? Like, what got them in that? I want you to finish your thought, but questions popping up. Who gave them that time to be like, you will work for 7 years, or was it voluntarily says, oh, I'm going to work for this person, I'm going to give them 7 years of my time?
Good question. Some of that is, I would have to look more into exactly how that was outlined. Some of it was you had to pay off debt. You owed money, or you owed something and you had to pay that off, and you would serve X amount of years to pay that off. Some of it may have been nation was conquered. You took slaves from there, and hard to say how long were you always a slave or not. Kind of hard to say for those portions, or I at least I don't know the answer to that. For like the Jubilee, regardless, that was the moment of you were free to go. And some people chose to stay. Because regardless of if you were owned or not, or you served, you had to be treated with respect. So there were certain outlying things, and some people appreciated and enjoyed working for whoever they were working for. So they chose not to leave, even though they had the option to leave.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the dominion, it wasn't always intended for people to rule over other people. And it happened because of sin. It happened because of greed, pride, all of these sins that we get concerned about, disobedience. So you'll see these are kind of the themes that like pop up with it. When you talk about the Israelites, he did not want them to have a king. The Most High, for the longest time, did not want them to have a king. He wanted them to follow him. Obviously, he set like leaders, and there was like leaders of the community. You have Moses, you have the Levites, you have different leaders of each of the tribes. But he didn't want them to have a king because he knew what a king would do. And this is why when you fast forward to Samuel, the people, they go through a whole bunch of judges. And the reason that they have judges are because the Israelites are disobedient. They start serving other gods, and the Most High allows them to get conquered by some nation. They get oppressed. They're like, why us? What happened? What did we do? And then they cry out to the Most High. The Most High sends them a leader, a judge, to free them from whoever is oppressing them. And then that judge sets them right. That judge dies. They forget, and they go right back down this. They go down this repetitive cycle of, it's all good. Forget the Most High. It's not good anymore. Shoot, we should go back to the Most High. And it becomes a cycle. And then eventually they get to a point where they start looking at the other nations around them. And they're like, wait, those nations have kings. Those nations have leaders that go ahead of them for war and battle. Why don't we have one? We should get one of those.
Interesting.
And then it goes down the path of Samuel being like, chill, guys. Please don't do this. And the Most High lays out what's going to happen if you get a king, and how the king is going to take your money, he's going to take your wives, he's going to he's going to oppress you practically. And they're still like, man, it's all good. We still want one anyway. And of course, they get a king, and he does everything the Most High says they're going to do, because you get power, you get greed. If your heart's not in the right place, you oppress the people under you. I don't know where I was going with that train of thought or the pathway, but
it all makes sense.
That's the dominion stuff.
Yeah. It sort of answers the question. But I personally don't, I think everybody, well, I'm not God, I'm nobody, right? But I personally think that when he's talking about dominion, I don't think he's talking about enslavement, right?
No.
I think he's talking about like you will be, because there's levels into heaven, right? There's like different, what do you call it? Like you'll be least in the kingdom if you do this, you'll be highest in the kingdom if you do this.
Yeah.
So I think he's talking about that like you will know more than certain people and you will do more than certain people. So pretty much it's like anybody that's not as well diverse in what you do, you should, help them up to be like, be their teacher, if that makes sense. Be their coach or be their whatever. That's like, I wouldn't say that's dominion, but that's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah. I think I kind of know what you're saying. Yes, the dominion was not enslaved, because you are to take care. Once again, this goes back to the caretaking and taking care of things. Just because Adam had dominion over the animals did not mean that you sat there and oppressed the animals. You were there to take care and shepherd the animals. In the same way, when you go to like the leadership roles, like when people became leaders, you didn't become a leader to oppress the people that you're ruling over.
Right.
You're there to take care, help make decisions, and guide them. And of course, when you reach that higher level, you're still supposed to treat everyone
with respect
and love, and help them.
And the Bible says that too, yeah.
And this is why you'll see repeated throughout the Torah: help the widow, help the poor, help the foreigner, help those who cannot or are unable to fully help themselves. That is your job and your responsibility when you're given the means. When you're blessed with the means to help somebody, you should help that person to the best of your ability. And that was the way you were supposed to properly take care of the earth and take care of the people around you. That's the way to truly love your neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense because I mean, obviously, what happened, the enslavement stuff was like horrible and it should have never happened. But I think when you're reading the scriptures and you don't truly understand, you take it out of context and pretty much make it man-made and do whatever you want. But hey, it is what it is. What happened. We move forward from it. But my next question would be, in Genesis 1, verse 30, it talks about, and to every beast on the earth and every fowl of the air and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, where, and excuse me if I'm reading something wrong because I'm from Haiti, okay? I don't speak English very well. And this is King James Version. I'm trying to read. I usually read NIV. All right? And it says, wherein in life, wherein there is life. What does that even mean? I don't know. I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. So well, I guess the first question is what is wherein? WHE.
Wherein. So it means that who has life. The things that animals that are alive. Pretty much, it's kind of a phrase that they're using, but of course, when you're reading from King James, you're dealing with Old English and the way that they spoke then. But in all intents and purposes, it means animals that are alive.
Okay, got it. But my next question would be, I have given every green herb for meat. What does he mean by that? Because herbs are obviously not meat.
Yeah.
And if I read that,
Yeah, so some translations will say meat, some will say food. And so this translation will say food, and it means that. Adam was supposed to eat from the fruits, and the animals were eating of the fruits of the earth. Like when you go back to Genesis 1 or earlier, where it talks about the plants and herbs that spring up, they were all there for food and provide. And then eventually you'll get to Noah, where he talks about that again, and talk about how they're for medicine as well. So they're there for healing and treatment. And that's exactly what that means.
Got it.
So he was able to eat from all of those plants that produced. The plants were designed to produce sustenance for him and animals. So.
Okay, so the first question is, do you think that Adam was allowed to eat the animals that he was attending? Right, that's the first one. And the second one would be, actually, let's answer the first one, and I'll think of the second one.
Okay, so as far as we know, scriptures don't outright say that. Does that mean that he could or couldn't? We don't know necessarily, or at least to start with, we should say before, because this is pre-sin. This is the pre-fall, before the fall happens in Genesis 3. So at that time, we can assume that everything was vegetarian and they only ate plants. There was no killing yet. There was no death yet. That stuff kind of changes a bit after the fall. After sin, then you start seeing,
you said there was no death, but I mean, when God says he put Adam in deep sleep, I mean, that was being dead, right?
No, because sleep.
Technically, everybody that's dead already, they are asleep until God says, come back. Wake up. Let me judge you now, right? So he was the first dead. In my knowledge. That's what I thought of this morning when I first read it,
No, I mean, deep sleep would be sleep. Just the same way if you go to surgery and you get anesthesia, you're put in deep sleep. You're not dead. Still alive. They're maintaining their heart rate and all of those things. So you're still alive when they're doing that, ideally. Ideally, okay, still alive. Yes. But we can say that this is the first surgery. This is the first surgery that's ever been performed.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's interesting. But go ahead.
I don't know where I was going with that train of thought. I forgot the last question.
You were going about the animals.
Oh, yes. So the animals, as far as we know, there was no death because the Bible doesn't talk about any death yet until the fall happens.
Yeah.
Until the fall, and that's when death starts to appear and pop up. So we don't know how long animals were meant to live for and all that. Or you can say, I've heard some people make the argument that, because of these verses, we were never allowed to eat meat. We were not allowed to eat animals because of these verses where it says plants are the only form of sustenance at that time. But when you read more and you go through more of the story, you'll start seeing that animals are allowable for eating food. And we will talk about that as we approach those chapters and go through those chapters.
Yeah, which is a whole topic on its own,
Yes.
because a lot of people, I mean, still dealing with not eating certain things,
Yeah.
but whole different topic, and we'll talk about it another day.
Yes.
All right, and the next question I'll have is, and it says at Genesis 2, verse 23, and it says, and Adam says, this is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of a man. Right? I guess we sort of answered that question in the beginning when we talked about why did he take the ribs from Adam and created it. So why was Adam allowed to name the woman, right, and not just the animals? Why was he allowed to? I mean, a lot of those questions are speculations, obviously, because we are not God. We can't. I don't know if the Bible talks about it.
Bible does kind of talk about it a little bit. It makes reference. So if you go a little bit earlier, when Adam is naming the animals, he's also looking for a helpmate. And this is where the Most High is like, it's not good for man to live alone or be alone. I should find a suitable helpmate. And as he's naming all the animals, there's no animal that's suitable for him. So the Most High creates woman to fulfill that helpmate. And that's why she's given a name and allowed to be named by Adam, because Adam was the first created. And so when you read Paul and Paul's letters, and he talks about how the wife is supposed to submit to their husband, he talks about how Adam was the first created. So the Most High created Adam first, and then he created woman. And he uses that as part of his defense for why the man leads. And when we go to Genesis 3, when we eventually go through Genesis 3 and we talk about it, with the fall, the Most High held Adam accountable. He turned to Adam first because it's Adam's fault. The commandment was given to Adam.
Right.
Remember, the commandment was not given to Eve. It was not given to Eve tonight. She knew of it, but the Most High talked directly to Adam about it. And when it came to accountability, when we talk about the accountability, Adam was supposed to own up to his accountability as the leader. He's given dominion. He's told to rule. He has to take responsibility for all of the things. You can't have leadership without responsibility and accountability. So if you're leading, it is your fault for the things that happen, good or bad.
Yeah.
Good or bad, it's your fault. So he names Eve his wife. That's because he was created first, and that's what the Most High allowed to do. And so,
got it. Yeah, that answers the question. So the next verse talks about Genesis 2. It talks about Genesis 2:24. It talks about, therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife. And there shall be one flesh. Right. And they were both naked. The man and his wife were not ashamed. Right. So men and woman become one. So I could say that was the first marriage. Right. So why is marriage so important to God? And why did he says that the man shall leave his mom and dad to become one with his wife, one flesh?
Because that's exactly, as you said, marriage is extremely important. Oh, wow. Important in the Most High's eyes. The man leaves and the woman, and they join and become. And that's ultimately what that transition from childhood to adulthood becomes. Remember, the be fruitful, it kind of goes back to be fruitful and multiply, and you train your children up in the way they should go. And eventually your children become adults, and those adults join and they start their own family. And when they join and become one, that becomes the priority. That marriage becomes priority over your parents. And a lot of society does not like to hear that, but your marriage comes first. Your spouse comes first, and the way the Most High views you as one. So a marriage is a three-way covenant. It's a covenant between the husband, wife, and the Most High. and it's something that you can't break or you're not supposed to break. The Most High will always hold up his end of any covenant. So you'll see many covenants written throughout the Bible, and Most High always holds up his end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, humans, on the other hand, we have notoriously broken and ripped apart and destroyed our side of the covenant, and that leads to problems.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes up to, I guess, the subject of divorce and the Most High's intentions.
Mm-hmm.
So when you listen to the Messiah, he said that divorce was never an option.
Mm-hmm.
So divorce was never an option. And the only reason Moses even gave you guys, and he's talking to the Israelites, the only reason he gave you guys the option of divorce was because of how stubborn and hard-headed you are.
Mm.
The Most High is always intended for man and woman to join and for no one to break that. So he always views them as one.
Mm-hmm.
The institution of marriage has become something completely different from how the Most High views it and sees it. He sees it as an unbreakable covenant, and we have kind of turned it into something that it's not working out.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
Yeah.
And break that. So,
which is insane to me.
Yeah.
But hey, that's between them and God.
Yeah.
But my last question of this podcast, because we're running out of time now, but my last question would be, what is one thing that people overlooked in Genesis 1 and 2 that we did not cover today?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
obviously, you know, there's a lot of good questions in there that I did not ask, but what is one thing that you would want people to know that they overlooked?
So one of the things that overlooked, and it was only recently after talking with someone else about this that didn't notice, is in Genesis 1, it just says Elohim, God, which is word for God. So he does not give himself a name, or he's not named at that point.
Okay.
And then in Genesis 2, when he starts interacting with man and woman, he gives his name. So his name is listed. So if you have Bibles that actually keep the actual name, you'll start seeing that he calls himself. So he speaks as and refers to himself as Yah. You see the word Yah. And so that shows like the more personalized relationship that he has with the people, his creation. And this kind of goes back to, who are you? This kind of goes back to, who are you? And he's naming himself now. He's talking to them now as that. And you'll see as he interacts from now on, he gives his name. He speaks his name. So that's one of the...
No, go ahead. I was gonna say, like, why did he give his name from the beginning? Because God always been, always was, and always will be. So did he not know who he was? I mean, you know what I mean?
He's always known his name. He's always known his name, and he's always revered his name. This is why one of the commandments is do not take his name in vain. And what that means is not necessarily saying, oh my God, and this. That's what a lot of people think, and that's not what it means. Taken in vain means making to nothingness. So make it useless or pointless. And what people have done is they've done that. Like people don't say his name anymore. They say God, they say the Lord, and all of that. And that's taking his name in vain. You stopped using his name. And he wants his name declared. He wants you to say his name at all times. He wants you to speak his name. It's a personalized relationship and walk with the Most High. And can you have a good relationship with anybody if you don't really know their names? Truly know who they are? We make jokes like at the gym where you know a whole bunch of people and then you don't really know their names and you're like, you're still cool with them and all of that. But to have like a true deep relationship, you can't without having their names.
That makes sense.
And so he gives his name and he speaks his name.
To have that relationship, to be close. Got it. That makes sense. That makes sense. Any other thing that we should cover before we end this podcast today? Or Bible study today?
Bible study? I mean, we covered a lot of the important things. Like, it's always important to know that, hey, the Most High speaks and things get done. So when the Most High talks, there's nothing that can happen except what he says and states. He says something and things get created, things move. And so when he speaks in your life, like if he tells you to do something or he promises something, there is no option but for it to be done. And so that's something to remember and take away is if the Most High is speaking in your life or telling you to do something or saying that he's going to take care of something,
Yeah.
there is no option except for it to be done. So his will be done. That's probably the biggest takeaway and most important takeaway is to always remember that is his will always be done. So
Yeah, that is amazing. That's a question probably for not Genesis 1 and 2 because it's not, but what is the meaning of dreams, right? Like what does the Bible says the meaning of dreams? Because I have had this dream that happened like 2020. That was a while ago.
yeah.
Where I was on this bus, right? Which is crazy dream. I was on this bus. This bus is going fast, right? And we like on this mountain. There's like a cliff right here. There's another cliff right here, but there's like a big house on top of the cliff, right? And you can see the cliff has like the dirt, like, like carved, whatever.
Yeah.
And the bus is going fast, right? But I'm on the bus and everybody's on the bus. Everybody's on the bus except for me was burning, was on fire, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody, literally everybody. I'm looking around. It's like the bus that has like the poles that you hold onto.
Yeah.
Like you see those trains. Yeah. I'm holding onto the pole.
Yeah.
Everybody on the bus is burning. And it looks like they're dancing. There's loud music on the bus. It looks like they're dancing. But I'm the only one that's standing there looking around that's not burning. Including the bus driver that's burning too. And the bus is like going fast. Like it's not like, it doesn't look like it's gonna crash.
Yeah.
It's just literally driving fast, going around. What does the Bible talks about? What does dreams mean?
Dreams can have a lot of significance and importance. Oftentimes, the Most High talks to people in dreams. So you'll see countless examples of that. You have Daniel in the Bible and his prophecies and visions. You have Pharaoh having his prophecies or his dreams and Joseph interpreting them.
Yeah.
So you have dreams that always have relevance. And so God will speak to people in dreams. He will give them prophecies in dreams. But then you also got to be aware that the enemy can also speak in dreams. So the spirit, I think that dreams, I don't have a perfect verse for this or a verse that's outright, but dreams are spiritual. A lot of them are spiritual. Some of them can be like nonsense mess and may not have meaning, or sometimes they all have meaning and you just don't know or interpret them.
Yeah.
There are people who do interpret dreams. Obviously, you see, with Joseph, he was able to interpret dreams. Daniel, with prayer, was able to interpret dreams. So when you have those kind of dreams, it's important to pray about them and seek the Most High to understand what is being spoken.
Yeah.
Is this something that he wants you to be aware of? Is this something concerning your life or the direction your life is heading?
That's what I was going to say to give you context.
Yeah.
It's like in that period of my life, that's when I was like, partying and, drinking and smoking and all these things. So maybe that's sort of what he was talking about, where like if I'm continue heading in that direction, I'll be burning like everybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, that would be my guess. I mean, I don't, not some dream expert.
Yeah.
But from what it sounds like, I mean, they're heading in a bad direction. I would want off that bus ASAP.
There was
ASAP.
no doors. I couldn't get out.
Yes, I would want off that bus. But if that bus is heading in a trajectory and you see everyone else is burning and suffering around you, that's
I don't know if
probably
they
not
were
a place to
suffering.
die.
It sounded like they were sort of screaming, but not like, when I woke up, I was afraid. I was scared. But
So, I mean, that should kind of tell you a lot about that. If you see them on fire and you see them and you're afraid about it, you can interpret that as that's not good. So some people would just say, oh, they're heading in the direction of hell. And if your life is that partying and rebellion against the Most High, because that's what sin is rebellion against the Most High, your consequences are eternal separation, is hell. That's where you're headed. That is the ultimate end goal destination. And that may have been the Most High telling you, hey, if you don't wake up, if you don't change and repent and turn back to me or turn to me, if you weren't already there, if you don't turn to me, this is where you're headed. This is where you end up. And there's the classic saying, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
Or There's 5 foolish people around you. You're bad at math. There's 6. You're the sixth one. So you should surround yourself with people heading in a direction that you want to head in.
But what if God put you in with those people to help them to follow him too?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Then do that. If that's what he's calling you to do, then do that.
Yeah, but if you remove yourself from them, how can you do that?
So first of all, because this brings up a whole lot of people who like to debate this. When you look at the Messiah, he hung around the tax collectors, the prostitutes, the people who were the scum of society at that time. And you'll see the Pharisees judging him like, look at this guy. He calls himself righteous and look at who he's hanging out with. But he was going to help them. He was going to seek them and meet them where they're at to get them to change. He wasn't partaking in their wickedness and their sin. He didn't partake in that. Now, this is also not a license to just go, oh, you know what? I got to meet them where they're at, so I'm going to go to hit up a strip club. Or something like that. No. That is not what that means at all. But it does mean that if you are, first of all, you have to make sure that you're walking correctly. Because you can't properly help someone if you're walking in a bad direction. The blind can't help the blind, or the blind leading the blind. But if you're walking in correctness, people should see your light. Like, no one should have to ask, hey, do you follow the Most High? It should just be apparent in your life. So you can help those people and point them in a direction. You can tell them or like teach them like, hey, this is kind of where you're headed. You should consider changing, and you like have those discussions, but that doesn't mean that you partake in their ways. So help them, especially if the Most High is telling you to help them, then absolutely help them and meet them where they're at. But if the Most High is telling you to remove yourself, then you got to remove yourself.
I mean, they'll remove themselves.
They'll also remove themselves.
Because once you moving in that direction, if they don't align with it, they'll automatically remove themselves. So you wouldn't have to do anything. My personal opinion.
But sometimes true. Or sometimes they'll try to drag you down with them. That's why it says bad company corrupts good manner. So they could see that your life and you try to live that light. And then if they try to pull you down with them, then you have an issue. Problem. And that may be a saying to remove yourself. But help those that need help and are seeking help. Like, obviously, if the person comes to you and says, hey, I'm struggling. I see that you're living your life very differently from me. Why? What is it that you have that I don't have? This is where you point them to the good news. This is where you give them that opportunity to change. This is where you teach them. But if you talk to them and they're like, man, I don't want to hear that. Like, whatever. And they start doing all those kind of things, then maybe they're not ready to hear it yet. That's where you should take the step back. There's a saying, don't cast your pearls to the swine.
I don't know what that means, but
don't throw your valuables to pigs, because pigs destroy and mess up and eat. They don't care about the value. They don't see the value in anything. They'll eat anything and everything that you throw in front of them and won't treasure them. So a very expensive necklace, for example, that's valuable to most people. You give that to a pig,
they'll tear it up.
Yes, they're not going to see the value. And that's the same thing with the words that you speak. If you have the good news, you understand the good news, and people are really not wanting to hear it, and they are destroying it and trampling it, you may be wasting your time. And that's a hard thing for some people to grasp. That was something hard for me to grasp, but you might be wasting your time and be casting pearls to swine. Instead of investing all your time into that person that doesn't want to hear it and wants to continue living their life, and they're fully aware of that, why don't you find people who do want to hear it? Because that's why the scriptures say, the harvest is plentiful, the workers are few. There's plenty of people seeking the truth. Just because that person's not seeking the truth at that time, why not go somewhere else? When the Messiah sent the disciples out to go throughout all of Judea and speak the truth, they were going into small towns and cities. And he said that if that town receives you, excellent, your peace be there, and you go teach them. If that town doesn't receive you, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Wipe the dust off your feet, shake the dust off your feet, and move on. There's a judgment attached to that one where it'll be greater. Their judgment will be worse for them than Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment. But that's the same thing. The Messiah, he didn't even waste time when people didn't want to hear it. So you'll see in some towns, and this is why he speaks of a prophet is not welcome in his own town, because he would be in Galilee or Nazareth, and the people would not listen to him. This is the Most High speaking. This is the Most High Son speaking, and they did not want to hear it. And he even makes an example and talks about how Nineveh, a really wicked city, they heard Jonah. Jonah came and told them to repent, and from the king all the way down to the poorest person, they put on sackcloth and repented. And the Messiah is sitting there like, someone greater than Jonah is here, and you're not receiving.
Not listening. Yeah.
They were like, if half the also the thing is, he's performing miracles. Like the lame are walking, the blind are seeing, the mute are speaking, people who are sick are being healed. They are seeing this happen,
right?
And they're still like, nah. And he was like, if these miracles were performed in Sodom and Gomorrah, they would have changed. They would have repented. And you guys are seeing this and not. And so you would see that he left those cities, or he left those towns because of their lack of faith, and went on and move on. And that's also what you should do. So you talk to someone, always talk to everyone. Anyone that you meet, that's an opportunity. Sometimes that may be the only opportunity. Maybe that person's seeking, maybe the answer to their prayers. Talk to them. If they're ready to receive it, great. And if they're not ready to receive it, pray for them.
Yeah.
But move on. Move on and go to people who are ready to receive it. So.
Amen, man. Amen. Well, that was amazing. We jumped all over the place today, but it was good conversation. And if you have not yet, read Genesis 3 and 4, maybe for next week, or maybe...
I'd say read both of them, but we'll probably spend a lot of time in Genesis 3.
Okay.
Because there's some parallels and things that are important to understand. So.
Yeah. All right. So read Genesis 3 and 4 if this episode is live by then. Well, hopefully it is. So that way we can continue studying, continue learning, and get to the truth. This is amazing. I'm excited to learn, man. And it's not just the fact that we are doing this. It's the fact that I have to stay consistent in reading for me, because I get very like, I gotta read again.
Yes.
I hate reading, right? So this pushes me to read even more and actually see. So, and I can't wait to see where God takes us and take me from where I was to where I am now is massive, right? And from here to where I'm going to be is gonna be even greater, and God will be glorified through it. So I'm excited for this. So thank you for tuning in. If you have not yet, like, share, and subscribe or follow wherever you're watching this, so that way more and more people can learn about God and about this podcast. All right.
Amen.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's go. Okay, that was